Okay, I said I would teach how to make this one. It is a heart, which is shaped quite a bit like the apple that I had made, with a few little tricks in between where the heart glows in the dark, these spots glow in the dark, and the edge glows in the dark, which actually looks pretty cool. So we start with our setup, which is a lot like the apple, except for one slight detail. This, which is the top of the heart, this one is offset 1 so that it's in the center. Here's where the centers come together. As you can see, this one's lined up, the bottom one is lined up with that, and this one is set 1 to the side to make it a dead center of them. And keep in mind that here you have your extra, which you have to get rid of. I'm doing this sort of backwards on the screen so that everybody can see it. So I'm going to get started. In this case, I'm doing them in purple and glow in the dark. So we start by setting them in. We go the same way as we normally would, putting them on. Get some fast forwarding in here once I really get going. And again, you have to follow this explicitly, otherwise you wind up with pieces that are going to let go once you try to take it off of the loom. Off to the side here, knowing that this is center, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 here. Center, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because there are 13 on each of the pieces. Even the couple of these that I've made mistakes as I was going, and you have to just keep an eye and make sure that you fix it. I may even make that mistake while I'm making it here, because when you're doing the heart, sometimes there's a piece that doesn't quite get there the way it's supposed to. It doesn't grab, and you wind up with an open spot. So here's where the center of the heart is, and we're going to skip here to make the top of the heart. And you do have to skip one, because otherwise the heart doesn't look quite right if you don't. This is where it gets a little strange, because you're going to be coming back this way. And if you don't do it properly, you wind up with that piece that won't go. So what I'm doing right here, I'm going to put this in. You feel free to use 1 here instead of 2. I use 2 because it gives better accent. Otherwise you just have kind of a V that goes in. Your rounded edge of the heart comes in right here because it's a little further out. Here's where we didn't want to do this, because it won't come out right when you're trying to redo it. So this guy has to be on the bottom, and this guy goes on top of that. Go across here, and as you can see, we're going to skip this one. We got one here, which is what we want to keep doing. My apologies on my last one. I kind of got in the way with my hands making the apple. I hope that I've learned my lesson as far as videotaping them and giving you a better opportunity to see everything that's going on. So, there's our heart again. And we're using doubles the whole way down. And if you lose track, you just keep an eye on what you've already done and you're repeating it on the other side. I invite everybody to really think about what you're doing with these, because you can come up with some really good stuff. When you think about it. And here we want purple to be on top, because if it isn't, you wind up with the white coming out the edge. As you can see here, I made it so pink goes through the edge, and if you put white on top, it winds up being white out to this edge, and that's not what you want to do. Same for this side. You want them on the bottom because you're going to pull them up over top once you come through that way. Sometimes this is much easier if you set up your doubles as you go, or before you get going, because then you just grab and go instead of having to match two up and pull them. That's how I got that apple done in the 30 minutes instead. So we've got our top row done now. That's the top of the heart. Now we're going to do the second row, which comes in pretty much the same way. All the whites that I'm using are all glow in the dark. And the purples that I'm using are purple jelly, because they come out better than the same color purple, which is more of a lavender. Bottom, you don't necessarily have to. Remember, we're skipping that one because it's number 7. As we can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have to skip that one and make the stretch the same here as we would here. next one I'm going to try to make is Animal from the Muppets, because I do believe that I can make him, and I think it will be really neat to do. Plus I like Animal. Now, because of this offset, we get a nice round heart here on the edge, rather than a square, almost a square looking heart. Dropping rubber bands. As I said before, this isn't too much different than the apple, but it is different. Now in the last one I put a pink right in the middle of the heart to make it look like the heart had a heart. This one I'm just going to make it straight glow in the dark white. Hopefully, after this first one, you'll be able to make this fairly easy. This is a pretty complicated one to make and to figure out how everything has to go. Same thing here, we want to get the middle ones in first. This side doesn't necessarily matter because they pull together the same way, a different way than the other side. So they don't wind up overlapping each other, so that you have purple coming out the other side. This one's going to be for my lovely wife, because she loves purple. Now, you can see how this one is the same as the stretch on this one. And that's really what you want. So, we wind up going to the end. I personally like to go to the Hallmark store because they have all of the Rainbow Loom stuff original. Again, I say original Rainbow Loom stuff is a whole lot better than the stuff you find aftermarket, because they have a name to protect, not just rubber bands to make. So, my suggestion would be to buy all Rainbow Loom original stuff. I go to the Hallmark store and I buy my stuff there. Okay, so we're done most of it. Now we have to do the heart bottom itself, which I'm going to hold it this way so it's easier for you to see. We're going to use the glow in the dark ones to do such a thing. So, what I want to do is I want to put them here, This one I want to twist a couple of times around. And there's a reason for this. Doesn't matter which way you twist it. I go around 3 times or so. The reason is because this one makes the center of the right here. It makes the bottom of the point. So it has to be done that way. And we're going to use 4 doubles. We got 2 each. These 2 just get crisscrossed in a figure 8. And now we want to do that one more time here. Again, doesn't matter which way we crisscross. Then we're going to bring it up over the top. The bottom one up over the top. Oop. Bring it up over the top. This one's easier to grab, so we grab underneath. Bring it over top. There we have our point. Once we do that, we put one more on top. And we bring them all just start flipping them all over top. Except for the last set that you put on. Same on this side. Pink one, I put a little bit more on there, and we gotta make sure we only have 2 bands here, just to make sure we pulled everything over to where it should have. Now, once you're done that, you have to pull both of these that are left on the post over to the next post. Same thing with this side. These, hold them down to make sure you don't lose them over to that post. And there's your point. Now once you get it all together, you might have to pull it down a little bit more once you go to loom it. So there's our general pattern, all the ones we need other than the attaching bands. Now we're going to start doing the attaching bands, which I do doubles here. You don't want to put one here because they wind up purposeless. They don't serve any purpose and you wind up losing it when you go to put the clips on anyway. So you start here, put them on, push them down, double them up, these ones you have to double, otherwise they don't work right. When you go to take it off the loom, you wind up with stuff sticking out of the side. As you can see, slightly off pattern here, but we're going to follow it anyway. And it won't affect us at all. Through here I do the glow in the dark because it's purple that's on the edge. Then, once we get to the purple, or the white, I'm sorry, we use purple to go through the center of the heart. And as you can see, this offsets like that, and then it goes back that way. So, we just follow it. That. But as you can see, we have a purple here, so you can just keep going, or you can just leave this like that. You'll still get your purple here. You can bring this purple here if you wish to make it so it's as tight as all the other ones. It's up to you to do whatever you want to do. And now we got purple again, so we go here. With the white. I go over these with white because they're not on the edge, and it doesn't really matter. Now on this one, I'm going to do the same as the other side. I'm going to go like that, but I'm also going to bring it back over here so that we have an even stretch. Here, and we're going to go like this. We're going to go around this one 3 or 4 times. 1, 2, 3. This one's always a pain in the neck. 2. That's 4. Couldn't see it at first. 1, 2, 3, 4. We double them up. Double it up. Just thinking about it. I think I'm going to go like this. Just change it up a little bit. But I still have to hit that one. So. This is my choice of what to do here. So, this is what we have. This is what we have, and we are ready to start doing our looming. That's how it goes. And of course we turn it around. We started from this end and worked our way up. And now we're going to loom from this end and work our way back. The biggest thing here is to keep an eye on what you're doing, because if you don't, you wind up with stuff popping off. You wind up with rubber bands that don't get loomed in, and your bracelet comes apart on you. So I want to go up to the first split where they come apart and they turn into 4 bands right here. Just like the apple, you have a few that are kind of stubborn, they don't want to pull through real easy. My suggestion as I'm doing this is, once you get to these spots here, you want to look and make sure you got from underneath and make sure that everything's loomed in. Make sure everything's loomed in when you hit these spots here and here and here. Just make sure everything gets loomed in how you wanted it, because if you don't, you're going to have to back it up and take it all apart. Here we have 2 that come together, so what we have to do is get the top 2 first and take them where they go, and then the bottom 2 and take those where they go, right like that. Make sure that these are separated, because if they're not, you're going to get that white. It doesn't quite look right. Same thing here. We're going to get our top 2. Bring them where they belong. Bottom 2. Take those where they belong. And then we can just start working our way in. See, everything's loomed in. They're all pulled together with the following one, and that's really what you have to watch out for, because sometimes if you get the wrong one first, it doesn't wind up like you want it. So and here again, I'm going to stop once I get to the heart. Bottom's not such a big deal. Here you have to make sure that you get behind the actual piece for the heart, for the bottom, because you can see you have the piece here and these 2. You want to pull the bottom 2 up, and the top piece you want to leave where it's stretched. Here there's no concerns with that. We want to make sure that that's pulled out. These, we don't have that problem either. Here we want to come to these, do these first, and then take this one over, because we want purple on the outside. If you don't, you're going to have white coming out to the edge. And you don't really want to do that because it won't look right. To the end here. If you've seen the apple, you remember we took this to the center, then brought this one over top, and then brought the bottom over. For some reason I'm pulling too many over.